Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and attention coach, Jeff Copper. One of the things that I've learned from coaching those with ADHD is ask the why. A lot of times people with ADHD come to me and they want coaching on something. They're upset because something's not happening and they have this emotional attachment to a vision of how they think it's really supposed to work. And often if you just pause and relax and just really try to observe and be curious, what am I doing and why am I doing it? It's a little tricky to do this because you really have to relax, but there's some things that you can really observe. They're absolutely amazing. That explains the why you do what you do. And when you understand the why, it's easier to figure out what or how to do it. So, by the way, self-observation is difficult. One of my favorite sayings recently is, I don't know who discovered water, but I'm sure it wasn't a fish. Speaks to what I'm talking about. Fish is so pervasive, water is so pervasive in a fish's world. It's so obvious that it doesn't even see it. So I realize that this is relatively difficult, but if you can let go of the judgment and kind of pause, you can observe some amazing things. So let me give you an example. Recently, I was coaching an individual who was explaining to me that they struggle, they procrastinate on returning phone calls. And they were really beating themselves up on it. And they mentioned it a couple times, but they never actually asked me to coach them on it. So one day we were having a conversation and I was teaching this person the art of self-observation. And they came in and they said, you know something, it's really interesting. I began to realize why it's easier for me to respond to voicemails by emails. And it was very simply because when they respond to a voicemail, by sending the person an email, they have a written record of it. What they do is they file that response in their Outlook so that if they need to go back to it, they kind of know where to find it. If they got on the phone and had a conversation, they wouldn't have a record of it. They would have to rely on their memory or their working memory to remember what was going on. So at the end of the day, what this person began to realize is that there was a legitimate reason why they struggled to return the phone calls, and there was a legitimate and very productive reason why they would respond to those questions by email, because they would actually have the documentation, and they could reference it if they needed to. This is a very simple thing that most people with ADHD let go of, is they're told, why aren't you doing this thing that we have an emotional attachment to, as opposed to looking at the fundamental reason maybe why they're not doing it. I've learned a lot in coaching, and one of the most powerful mindsets I've learned is look at people with ADHD and say everything they do is for a legitimate reason, and it's not to get out of stuff. You get rid of the emotion. I hope this has given you pause to think about this a little bit, and even maybe look at your own behavior. Look at the things you're not doing and saying, well, why am I not doing this? Which, by the way, we've done some episodes on procrastination. Literally, I find that 75 to 80% of procrastination is rooted in ambiguity. If you don't really know what to do or you don't know where something is, it's a good reason to go do something else. It's not to say, I'm not clear. How can I get clear, that you actually begin to go forward? So anyway, I hope this has given you pause to think about what's going on, to use a little bit of self-observation, to let go of the emotions and say, I wonder why I'm doing what I'm doing. How does it serve me? It's amazing what you'll see, and it's amazing what you're going to find that you're doing right. Hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Please subscribe by hitting our subscriber button, which, by the way, a big shout out. I forget who the viewer was, but somebody actually commented that I should mark the side of the screen where I hit the subscriber button, because I kept going like this and it worked. Thank you. Which reminds me, I love your comments. Stuff like this is really helpful, and it spurs new insights and new episodes of Attention Talk Video. So please leave a comment, please subscribe. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we hope we've helped you think.